In the quiet luxury of first class, a simple request for comfort turns shocking. An elderly woman, struck unjustly by a stressed attendant, holds a secret that could unravel the very fabric of the airline's reputation. What begins as a journey of elegance ends in a confrontation that no one saw coming. As Elaine and Arthur step aboard the high-end aircraft, the soft bustle of the cabin wraps around them, a symphony of muted conversations and the subtle clinking of fine dinnerware. For Elaine, the familiar hum of the engines and the plush seats are a reminder of countless journeys, but this one feels different. There's an unspoken tension in the air, a prelude to something unexpected. The first-class section is a sanctuary of luxury, plush, expansive seats that cradle each passenger like a cocoon, and panoramic windows framing the sky's ever-changing palette. Yet, beneath the opulence, there's an undercurrent of tension, a reminder that even in paradise, human flaws can surface. Elaine, adorned in a tasteful silk dress that whispers of her refined taste, moves with a poise that turns heads. Arthur, her companion of decades, matches her elegance in a perfectly tailored suit, his calm demeanor belying the sharp, observant eyes that have seen it all. Together, they are a picture of grace and quiet strength, their bond evident in the way they exchange a glance, a silent conversation of shared histories and unspoken understanding. Elaine and Arthur are a picture of effortless grace, seasoned travelers accustomed to luxury, yet unaware of the turbulence awaiting them. As they settle into their seats, the couple exchanges a glance, a silent conversation of shared histories and quiet excitement for the journey ahead. The soft hum of the aircraft's engines adds a comforting undertone to their anticipation, while the scent of gourmet cuisine promises culinary delights. Surrounding them, the cabin continues to fill. A young entrepreneur taps away on a sleek laptop, a family shares a hushed conversation over coloring books and toys, and a solo traveler gazes thoughtfully out the window. Each passenger, regardless of their origin, is united in this moment of transition, their paths converging at 30,000 feet. Elaine reaches out to adjust the fine cashmere blanket provided for her comfort, her fingers brushing the fabric's softness. Arthur watches, his expression softening with affection for his wife of many decades, his thoughts briefly touching on the reasons behind their trip. In this space of luxury and quiet motion, Elaine and Arthur find a temporary sanctuary, a pause from the world's relentless pace. But even in this serene setting, the complexities of human interactions and unseen tensions simmer just below the surface, poised to unfold in unexpected ways. As the aircraft climbs higher, the controlled climate of the first-class cabin begins to fluctuate subtly. Elaine, feeling the warmth encroaching upon her comfort, adjusts the air vent above her with little relief. She fans herself gently with the in-flight magazine, her discomfort growing as the cabin temperature seems to inch higher. Despite the luxurious surroundings, the physical discomfort begins to tarnish the gleam of their travel experience. Across the aisle, Jenna, a young flight attendant, navigates the narrow spaces between the opulent seats, her tray laden with sparkling beverages and gourmet snacks. Her uniform, immaculate at the start of her shift, now betrays signs of a long day. A slight wrinkle here, a loosened scarf there. The demands of back-to-back long-haul flights are etched across her forehead, her usually bright eyes now shadowed by fatigue. Her patience, worn thin by earlier challenges with demanding passengers and a particularly harsh reprimand from the senior cabin crew, hangs by a thread. Elaine, noticing Jenna's approach, tries to catch her attention. She raises her hand slightly, a soft call of, "Excuse me," escaping her lips. But Jenna, preoccupied with her tasks and the mounting pressure of maintaining perfection, doesn't notice. Elaine tries again, this time a bit more assertively, her voice louder against the hum of the cabin. Still, Jenna moves on, oblivious to Elaine's growing distress. Their eyes finally meet as Jenna turns to address a spilled drink 2 rows back. Elaine, with a polite yet firmer tone, calls out once more. Jenna, her senses sharpened by the day's stress, misinterprets the urgency in Elaine's voice as impatience. perhaps even entitlement. The air between them charges with tension, a silent standoff that none of the surrounding passengers seem to notice. Elaine, aware of her own rising frustration, struggles to maintain her composure, her request for cooler air now tinged with an unintended edge. Jenna, feeling cornered and criticized, braces herself as she turns to face Elaine once more. The weight of her professional facade presses against the tide of personal exhaustion and mounting irritation. Her hands tremble slightly, her breath quickens, and in a moment of uncharacteristic impulsivity, she reacts, not with words, but with an action that silences the cabin instantly. As she steps toward Elaine, the threads of misunderstanding weave a potentially explosive interaction, the outcome of which could redefine the nature of their voyage. The atmosphere in the first-class cabin, once filled with the gentle murmur of contented travelers, sharpens into a tense silence as Jenna approaches Elaine for the confrontation that neither anticipated, but both now face. Jenna, her nerves frayed after a grueling shift, perceives the repeated calls from Elaine as an escalating critique of her professionalism. Each polite "excuse me" from Elaine, growing louder with discomfort, rings in Jenna's ears like an accusation. Elaine, still waving slightly from the heat, tries once more, her voice carrying a mixture of distress and insistence. "Could you please adjust the air for me? It's quite warm here." Her request, intended to convey discomfort, comes across as pressing and urgent. Jenna, already on edge, misreads the urgency and tone as condescending and demanding. Feeling belittled and provoked in front of the cabin full of passengers, her professional restraint snaps. In a moment of uncharacteristic impulsivity fueled by stress and misinterpretation, Jenna reacts, not with words, but with an action that silences the cabin instantly. Crack! The sound slices through the air like a whip, shattering the refined silence of first class. Glasses tremble. Gasps ripple through the cabin. Time itself seems to freeze mid-air. It's a sound that seems too loud, too violent for such a luxurious setting, cutting through the soft background music and whispered conversations like a harsh discord. The surrounding silence is palpable. Time seems to stand still as passengers turn their heads, eyes wide in shock. The elderly couple nearby stops their conversation mid-sentence, their forks suspended in the air. A businessman on his laptop looks up, his expression one of disbelief. The atmosphere, previously calm and controlled, is now thick with astonishment and tension. Elaine stands frozen, one hand touching her cheek, the other still holding the magazine. Her eyes, filled with a mixture of pain and confusion, meet Jenna's. Jenna, her hand still raised slightly in the air, begins to comprehend the gravity of what she has done. The immediate regret is evident in her eyes, her face draining of color as she stares at her own trembling hand, the instrument of her lapse. Arthur, who had been dozing lightly beside Elaine, awakens abruptly to the commotion. His concern quickly turns to outrage as he takes in the scene. His wife, the epitome of dignity and grace, assaulted in an unprovoked attack. His mind races, torn between his instinct to protect Elaine and his role as the CEO of the airline. The weight of his dual identity presses down on him, but his voice, when it comes, is firm and commanding. His voice, firm and commanding, breaks the silence. What is the meaning of this? The cabin crew, including the senior flight attendant, rush towards the scene, their expressions a mix of concern and professional alarm. They are quick to intervene, but the damage has been done. The incident has not only shattered the serenity of the flight, but has also ignited a series of repercussions that will ripple beyond the confines of the aircraft. In the immediate aftermath of the incident, a heavy silence descends upon the first-class cabin. The previously gentle murmur of conversation abruptly ceases, replaced by the palpable shock that hangs in the air. Passengers stare, wide-eyed and mouths agape, some in disbelief, others in horror at the breach of decorum they have just witnessed. The luxurious setting, once a place of comfort and relaxation, now feels charged with an uncomfortable energy. Slowly, whispers start to swirl around the cabin like a gathering storm. Did that really just happen? One passenger murmurs to another, seeking confirmation for what seems unimaginable in such a refined space. Is she okay? Another whispers, nodding toward Elaine, who stands remarkably composed despite the assault. Elaine, though visibly shaken, holds herself with an extraordinary amount of grace. Her cheeks, still warm from the slap, are not met with tears, but with a quiet strength that commands respect. Her eyes scan the cabin, meeting the gazes of her fellow passengers, some of whom offer subtle nods of sympathy and support. In this moment, her stature seems to grow, not diminish, as she embodies a dignified resilience that resonates deeply with those around her. Her husband Arthur rises to stand beside her, his protective presence a silent pillar of support. He places a gentle hand on her shoulder, a small gesture laden with meaning. Together, they represent a united front, a couple bound not just by love, but by an unspoken agreement to face adversity with poise. Taking a deep breath, Elaine's voice cuts through the murmurs, steady and firm, yet devoid of anger. "I would like to speak with the captain, please," she states. Her request is not a demand but a measured assertion of her rights as a passenger and as a person wronged. Her tone, while controlled, leaves no room for dismissal. It commands attention and action. The senior flight attendant, recognizing the gravity of the situation and the potential repercussions, quickly nods and moves to the front of the plane to summon the captain. As she waits, Elaine's gaze returns to the window beside her, her reflection mirroring back a woman who has faced an unexpected assault with incredible composure. The cabin remains in a state of suspended animation as everyone waits for the captain. The collective breath of the first-class section seems held, the earlier tranquility replaced by a tense anticipation of what will come next. Passengers exchange uneasy glances, their luxurious experience now tainted by the unsettling reality of human frailty. As the aircraft taxis smoothly to its gate, the tense atmosphere in the first-class cabin begins to reach a climax. Arthur, who had remained a silent support beside Elaine throughout the ordeal, now prepares to reveal a truth that will change the course of events dramatically. With the dignity that has characterized his demeanor throughout the flight, he slowly rises from his seat. All eyes are drawn to him, intuiting that a significant moment is about to unfold. Arthur clears his throat gently, commanding the silent attention of the cabin. "Ladies and gentlemen," he begins, his voice resonant and calm, "I regret that today's journey has been marred by an incident that should never occur on any flight, especially not on this airline." He pauses, letting his words sink in, the weight of his presence felt by everyone in the cabin. With a steady gaze that sweeps across the passengers and crew, he continues, "I am not just a passenger on this flight. I am also the CEO of this airline." The revelation ripples through the cabin like a shockwave. Gasps are audible. The flight attendant, Jenna, turns pale, her expression a mixture of disbelief and dread. The realization of whose wife she has assaulted and under whose employment she serves hits her with crippling force. Arthur's eyes finally rest on Jenna. His look is not one of anger, but of profound disappointment, a far more cutting sentiment in the context of their shared professional world. "We pride ourselves on respect, dignity, and exceptional service," he states. "What happened today was a failure not just on a personal level but a professional one as well." As the plane completes its taxi, Arthur addresses the cabin once more. "I assure you all that this matter will be dealt with utmost seriousness and sensitivity. We will review and strengthen our training programs to ensure that all our staff, regardless of their role, understand and embody the values that we hold dear." The senior flight attendant, now visibly shaken but determined to regain some control, ushers Arthur and Elaine towards the front, where they can disembark first. The rest of the passengers remain seated, still processing the unexpected turn of events. As they walk down the aisle, Arthur's arm protectively around Elaine, there is a silent acknowledgement from the other passengers. Some nod respectfully, while others offer apologetic looks, sharing in the discomfort of the situation, but also in the relief that justice will be sought. Arthur's final words before exiting the plane echo in the cabin. Let this be a lesson in humility and responsibility for us all. As the aircraft doors open to the bustling atmosphere of the airport terminal, Arthur remains a figure of composed authority. The moment they step off the plane into the secluded bridge leading to the executive lounge, he signals for a brief, impromptu meeting with the flight crew and several key airline management members who have gathered in response to the pre-landing communications. Arthur, with Elaine by his side, addresses the group. His leadership, under such unexpected circumstances, is both tested and visible. Today, we've witnessed a breach of the trust and safety that define our airline's values, he begins, his voice steady, projecting not just authority, but a deep, personal disappointment. Effective immediately, Jenna will be suspended from her duties, Arthur announces, his decision clear and non-negotiable. He looks directly at Jenna, who stands apart, her posture one of regret and resignation. This is not just about a single mistake, but about maintaining a standard that we have set for ourselves and that our passengers expect from us. Arthur's words resonate through the assembled group, a palpable reminder of the airline's commitment to upholding dignity and respect at all levels. We will also be reviewing our training programs, he continues, to reinforce our core values and ensure that every member of our staff can handle stress and respond with professionalism under pressure. He addresses Jenna again, his tone slightly softened but firm. You have been a valued member of our team, Jenna, and it is my hope that this incident becomes a learning opportunity, not just for you, but for all of us. We must all strive to do better, to be better. The meeting concludes with Arthur directing the airline's HR director to initiate a comprehensive review of staff support systems and conflict management training. He emphasizes the need for a supportive environment where employees feel equipped to manage challenges without compromising the service quality or their integrity. As they walk towards the VIP exit, Arthur's commitment to transforming a moment of failure into a catalyst for improvement echoes not just in his words, but in his actions. His approach not only aims to address the immediate fallout, but also to fortify the airline's reputation by turning a negative incident into a proactive step towards better service and stronger values. In the wake of the incident, Arthur's commitment to not only addressing the immediate problem, but also preventing future occurrences is unequivocal. The airline swiftly springs into action, initiating an extensive overhaul of its staff training programs. This initiative reflects a deep-seated commitment to fundamentally enhancing the way employees interact with passengers and manage stress. The new training initiative, spearheaded by Arthur, involves a comprehensive curriculum focused on sensitivity and stress management. Recognizing the intense pressures that cabin crews face, especially in high-stress environments like international flights, the program is designed to equip staff with tools to handle difficult situations gracefully. It includes modules on cultural competence, emotional intelligence, and effective communication strategies that emphasize empathy and respect. Arthur and Elaine take an active role in shaping the curriculum. Their personal experiences and the recent unfortunate event lend authenticity and urgency to the initiative. Elaine, with her background in educational psychology, contributes insights into how understanding diverse backgrounds and personality types can enhance interactions and mitigate conflicts before they escalate. She leads workshops that challenge staff to think critically about their own biases and assumptions, encouraging a shift towards more inclusive and considerate service. Arthur, with his extensive experience in corporate leadership, focuses on integrating these soft skills into the daily operational protocols of the airline. His vision is to create a culture where respect and understanding are as fundamental as safety and efficiency. He organizes seminars with external experts in conflict resolution and stress management, ensuring that the training is both practical and grounded in the latest psychological research. Together, they introduce a series of ongoing evaluation and feedback mechanisms that allow staff to continuously refine their skills and adapt to new challenges. These include regular peer reviews, customer feedback surveys specifically designed to assess interpersonal interactions, and stress management workshops that provide ongoing support for employees. The rollout of these new training programs is met with positive feedback from the staff, who appreciate the investment in their professional growth and personal well-being. This proactive approach not only boosts morale within the airline, but also gradually rebuilds trust with the flying public, who begin to notice and commend the noticeable improvements in service quality and crew demeanor. Through these comprehensive training reforms, the airline not only aims to restore its tarnished image, but also sets a new industry standard for how service-oriented businesses can effectively incorporate respect and sensitivity into their core operational philosophy. As the aircraft's journey reaches its conclusion, so too does a chapter in Elaine's life, one that she could never have anticipated, but which she now embraces as a catalyst for advocacy and change. Sitting by the expansive airport windows, watching the hustle of ground crews and departing planes, Elaine takes a moment to reflect on the events that unfolded thousands of feet above the ground. Elaine ponders the power of dignity, how maintaining one's composure and self-respect, even in the face of unjust treatment, can transform a personal affront into an opportunity for broader societal change. Her mind drifts to the countless times she's seen people lose themselves in moments of anger, and she wonders if this incident might serve as a wake-up call, not just for Jenna, but for everyone aboard. Dignity isn't just about how we carry ourselves, she muses quietly, her voice imbued with a reflective calm. It's also about how we treat others, especially when we think no one else is watching. Her thoughts then turn to the importance of cultural empathy in our globalized world. Our flight might have ended, but our journey towards understanding each other is ongoing, Elaine says, addressing a small group of airline staff and fellow passengers who have gathered around, drawn by her warmth and wisdom. Her words resonate, inviting her listeners to consider their own interactions and prejudices. With the gentle grace of an experienced educator, Elaine articulates the need for continuous dialogue and the courage to embrace change. Change isn't just about big gestures. It's about the small moments when we decide to listen rather than dismiss, to understand rather than judge, she explains. Her perspective is not just theoretical, but grounded in her recent experiences, lending her words an authenticity that is palpable. Her reflection is a powerful reminder of the ongoing need for dialogue and change, a call to action not just for those in the airline industry, but for all who seek to make their worlds, big and small, more inclusive and compassionate. Let's not wait for the next incident to remind us of what we should do. Let's do it now, let's do it right, and let's do it together, she concludes, her voice a soft, yet formidable force. As people nod in agreement and begin to disperse, Elaine's husband, Arthur, joins her side, his presence a silent testament to their shared commitment to these ideals. Together, they look out at the bustling airport, a symbol of the interconnected world they hope to influence, one respectful interaction at a time. Flight 237 had landed, but the turbulence wasn't over. The world was watching, the headlines were coming, and one truth had become crystal clear. Respect isn't just policy, it's power. As the narrative of Elaine and Arthur concludes, the story invites each of us to reflect on our own roles within the tapestry of human interactions. Elaine's experience is a profound reminder of the importance of maintaining dignity and respect, not only as recipients, but as givers in every exchange. Now, we turn to you, the viewers. We encourage you to share your thoughts and experiences regarding dignity and respect in your own lives. How do you ensure that you uphold these values in your daily interactions, whether at home, in the workplace, or in public settings? Moreover, what steps can we collectively take to foster a more respectful service industry and society at large? Join the conversation in the comments below. Share your stories, propose ideas, and discuss ways we can all contribute to a culture of respect and empathy. Together, let's take proactive steps towards a more understanding and compassionate world.